Hey comic book fans, welcome back to another episode of Comic Book Geezers. I am Wild Bill, the Unknown Comic, your host, and you also know the other geezer over here, Comic Book Geezer, Kirk Manning. What's up, Kirk?
Yeah, good to be here, bud.
Thanks for being here. We're going to do, there's another guy over here who wants to say hi. You know that dude. So yeah, we're doing a tribute to Neal Adams, the news that he just passed away on April 28th. He was born in Manhattan, and he was 80 years old. He had complications from sepsis, I believe, an infection. But I never met him, but you did, Kirk.
Yeah, actually, I met him a couple of times. My brother also met him. So he was, if you went to Comic-Cons from like the 80s to pretty much recently, you'd find him in the New York Comic-Con every year. Always a great guy. When I met him, when I was about maybe 15 or 16, he would sign anything. He was really generous like that. He also, back in the day, you could get a sketch for like $25.
Okay.
I wish to God I'd done that. I was stupid. I didn't say
Times changed.
Yeah, those sketches are worth some decent cash now.
He is the Michelangelo of artists, comic book artists from the late 60s, early 70s, and early 80s. We're going to show you some stuff that we have from our collections. Kirk brought some of his things, but one of the oldest Supermans in my collection is the Neal Adams cover.
That's awesome.
Superman being blocked at the gates of hell. I mean, what a great subject, you know. This is, I believe, from like 1970. Or that's 71.
71, yeah.
So,
whoops.
He worked primarily for DC back in the late 60s, early 70s, but he did Superman, he did Detective Comics, he did Batman, and he also did The Flash. But he did more cover work than inside work.
He was one of those guys too. Back in the day, man, you got paid by the page or whatever, so he was all over the place. Guy was constantly turning out work.
Remember this one?
The classic. I mean, that's going to be one of the things that I think he's going to be best remembered for is that run on Green Lantern, Green Arrow. He gave Green Arrow the goatee. Prior to that, he was all clean shaven. I think he really redid that look for the Arrow, and it made the character, in my opinion.
This cover has like so much background art going on,
Well, his art, it was realistic. For the first time, you were looking at comic book art that you really didn't look so comic-y. It
wasn't cartoony.
Yeah, it looked like real people.
And that whole storyline arc crossed over the barrier of the whole drug abuse.
Yeah,
it did.
I mean, that
Conan. He did one issue. Conan.
What a great cover, though, huh? God, it's worth just buying. Again, I'm not a big fan of the idea of just buying a book for its cover, but that actually breaks the rule for that. I think, and it's a good book anyway. So but
again, this is a classic. He just does the cover.
Yes,
but this John Romita cover, Tower of Shadows, has a Neal Adams story and art on the inside. Very rare where he's writing the story. It's called One Hungers. And it's the story that's on this cover. This blob cover.
I love that. That is a great cover.
So I'll pull it out real quick.
Those old horror books. I mean, again, there's some amazing stuff.
So he writes this story called One Hungers, and you have this creature that's like out in the wilderness, and it's I guess it's third person narration, or actually first person narration. So the creature thinks like the Hulk, the way he thinks about himself in third person. So he hiding in the wilderness, and he decides to come out. And when he comes out, there's this explosion, and the story changes to this couple. And the girl notices the explosion, and she's asking, "What, did they just have a nuclear test over here?" And the boyfriend, he's oblivious. He's like, what, here in Jersey? No way. So something happens to this creature from this explosion. So they go into this house, and this creature starts coming down the stairs because he says, "Food!"
Food, yeah, there you go.
And of course, when the boyfriend walks through, his foot goes through the floor. So he's getting stuck right there.
Got to cut him loose, man.
Where is that bomb right here? So he's got his guitar. The blob starts to come down the stairs, and she freaks out. And when she screams, it like energizes the creature. He gets a little bit bigger. It like makes him stronger, and the boyfriend, picks up on it. And
there's a grittiness to this work, which is artwork, which is really, really cool.
And it's for a horror story, it's like it's got a creepy effect to it. The draw, right? So he starts playing his guitar, which counteracts her screaming. She helps him get his foot loose. They get out of there, and he's telling her not to scream. And as they're running away, the little blob, he's getting smaller and smaller. But his thoughts are asking her to scream because it's food for him to keep going. And at the end of the story, the little blob is so small, but he's jumping up towards her mouth, and her mouth is open like she's going to scream. And he ends the story right there with this narrator character.
Perfect host, right?
Yes. Now you have to describe. And the guy says you don't know if that scream is coming from the next issue. So he doesn't let you know if it's really her that screamed. You decide. Neal Adams. Neal Adams Art and Story from 1970. But so he did a little bit of everything. He got involved with horror.
Yeah, he was all over the place. I mean, he did covers. He did
Detective Comics. I don't have any Batmans that he did. It's too bad you didn't bring that Joker one. You know what I'm talking about. Then he jumped the fence and he went to work for Marvel sometimes. He did the cover #1 for Tomb of Dracula. That's just awfully good detail to the fog and the mist, the moon.
Yeah.
It's just, he sets the mood with the clouds, the silhouettes and everything, man. It's just
his line work. Yeah, you got it.
I don't know if gothic is the right word, man, but it has a medieval feel to it,
I didn't bring it, but even like the Detective Comics where he'd put the chest hair in and stuff, he just really was so detail oriented. It was amazing.
So think of this in your mind as I'll pop on the camera here for a minute, but think of the 1941 film The Wolfman by Universal Horror, and think of all the scenes where they're out in the moors and the Wolfman, Lawrence Talbot, is chasing whoever, and think of all the mist and everything like that.
That's what this is.
Look at that.
Yeah, I mean, you can.
You even have the castle in the background with the moon,
He was a fan,
and it's like Mike Ploog did an awesome job too with this storyline. When I was out with Tom Palmer.
Tom Palmer was with this, but he had the talent to keep going with this character, And then Gene Colan, him and Gene Colan together, it's so good.
But Neal Adams did the first issue of Tomb of Dracula. It's a shame he didn't do more of them, but it's just phenomenal work. And also other examples, Amazing Adventures. There's a Neal Adams cover right here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good one.
I believe he did the first Killraven too. So
I think so.
Which was an Amazing Adventures as well.
It was him and then Herb Trimpe, I think, took over after.
Issue 7. This is issue 8. I probably have the other one, the Killraven that you're talking about. I think that's issue 15 or 18.
18.
Yeah. I have it. I didn't know that he did it. I would have pulled it.
He had his hands in so many things. It's hard to remember.
He has a nice store.
His store is very different, right?
Yeah.
From like Kirby and John Buscema and other guys.
And that's Black Bolt and Black Widow down there. So what else have you got, Kurt?
Well, I went and I just grabbed some stuff. To be honest, I was kind of shooting around yesterday when I got the news, and I was very sad to hear. As I said, I had the pleasure of meeting the man a couple of times. What a really nice guy. And he'd always take a couple of minutes to talk to you.
Did you have him sign anything for you?
Well, we've got actually. I pulled this. This actually sits in my office at home. It's a signed copy of the Millennium Edition of this Batman book by Neal Adams. He actually signed this for my brother, but it's pretty cool. He did a signing. Where was this? At Midtown Comics a couple of years ago.
Oh wow,
that's really nice.
And it said, just again, really nice guy. Really,
that's cool.
So But you know what? Again, I think sometimes people always remember the Batman stuff, which was fantastic. But I got to say, he did so many different things. I loved the old Superman books. So this is a cover he did with Supergirl, and looking for a replacement for Superman. That's a classic.
What else is new?
He did adventure comics. He did a bunch of these. This is for the Legion of Superheroes. And again, you see Supergirl, Superboy this time.
These are like early 1970s, 69.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. These are.
What number is that issue?
This is 368.
So, so that's prior to like 1970, right around that time.
Yeah. I mean, I'll be honest. I was just going through boxes yesterday, just pulling a couple things out, flipping through, making sure he did the covers. But again, fantastic stuff. I got Justice League. Now, the interesting thing about this cover is he inked it. He didn't actually draw it. Gil Kane did the art.
What number is that issue?
This is, what is it? It is 81.
81.
But if you check it out, you really, even with the inking, you can kind of see
I wouldn't have said Gil Kane at all.
Yeah, he kind of like just takes over. He was just so amazing. And as I said, I love the fact that they're all in straitjackets. I think that's hysterical. A character that he didn't create, but he made, in my opinion, was Deadman. And I'm a huge Deadman fan. We did an episode on these strange adventures way back, but this is one of the covers. Again, Neal Adams rocked. He wrote it. I don't know if he wrote it. He did draw it, though. And he did the covers, and they were awesome. All of them are. I could have brought them all, but I didn't want to.
For Batman, he created Ra's al Ghul.
Yeah. Now, I brought this book. This is actually a reproduction of it. I have an original in my collection. It's very expensive, so I was like, you know what? I'm just not going to drag it out today. When I was a kid, I bought this off the stand. This is one of those books that, like, as a kid, I was like, oh my God, look at this. Because it gives you, and it's a wraparound cover. So he drew the Justice League and the Justice Society of America. It is so amazing. Because actually, if you see, like, the Alex Ross stuff that was done for, like, later on, you'll see he stole some of the ideas of, like, the characters lining up like this. It's just such a great book. It's a reprint book. It doesn't have any original stories in it. But again, you'll pay a top penny for this. I sold a copy. I had a double of it that had severe water damage a couple of years ago for like $30. I felt bad taking the person's money, but they told me, no, that's where I can afford to be. Totally get it. But a great book. And then this is my final one, which is, it's got to be like one of my favorite covers from him. Monsters Unleashed. I mean,
that's cool.
You know, you like the Man-Thing. I mean, just look at that cover. That is just awesome.
Zoom that in there.
Look at that. So,
look at that.
But that is just great.
Isn't that awesome?
Yeah. Bill's going to get that one in there for you.
Yeah.
Just, you know, again, and he was doing a lot of interior stuff. He did, as again, I don't know when this guy slept. The other thing, too, I will tell you that people don't know about.
How long you had this?
Not that long, actually. I bought that.
It's hard to find.
But it is. Any of these Monsters Unleashed are a pain. Any of the magazines are to find. But one of the things, too, I'd like to say, people don't know this story about Neal Adams. Back in the day, the original creators of Superman sued DC Comics because they didn't feel like they were being compensated. And DC Comics actually kind of cut ties with them at that point. And they really weren't being compensated for all the money that DC Comics made for Superman. And so there was this whole lawsuit that went on for years. And it was Neal Adams that actually brokered the peace between them. And he made sure that they actually saw some money for Superman. And DC kind of made them the ambassadors of Superman. It was around the time that the first Reeves movie was coming out. So again, just a great guy.
So he was one of the major artists that stepped up against the corporation to stick up for the artists.
Well, you know what? Right? Without these guys, the field wouldn't exist. I mean, you know, and he remembered that. And hopefully we will remember him for what he's given to this field, because he was just
absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah.
I always say he was the Michelangelo of modern comics that we grew up with as kids that we know of, you know, because I mean he put that certain flair to Batman and gave it, you know, that brought it into the 70s from the 50s. He was the next cycle on the look of Batman, I think.
You saw.
Plus he did great with Superman and on everything else that he touched.
I don't think there was a bad like he just didn't do bad work. You know, sometimes you get the feeling with some of these guys they're kind of dialing it in for the day, but I just always loved his work.
Definitely phenomenal art. Yeah. Anyway, I'm Wild Bill, and for Pete and Kirk, we're saying thanks for being here. As always, please click the like button if you like this video, and also click the notification bell so you'll be kept in the loop every time we have a video. And if you scroll to the bottom, you can click on our merchandise link to get a wood shirt or a wood coffee mug. And as always, we thank you for being here with Comic Book Geezers. I'm Wild Bill saying we'll see you next time. Take it easy. Bye-bye.